Play live stream. We are broadcasting to you live from Building 72 at the University of Utah campus, and we're going to be bringing you coverage of this wonderful event where we showcase everything that the university students have been up to here, the games they've been making, and all kinds of cool stuff like that. I am Archie Smith, and I'm joined here by...
I'm Bob Kessler. I'm a professor in the EAE program.
Yeah, so I believe you mentioned earlier you were actually the founder of this program, and you were kind of the director of it up until just recently?
Right. So back in 2007, we basically started the EAE program as an undergraduate degree. Well, it wasn't a specific degree. There was a computer science degree and a film degree, with tracks in games. And that's where we started. Then we did the master's program, and then, like in the last couple of years, we've done our own bachelor's degree. So, it's grown over, I don't know, since 2007.
Oh yeah, it's a pretty different landscape from where it started. So, kind of an exciting amount of growth in that regard. So, over the last semester, since you've kind of just moved into that professor role, has there been anything super exciting that's happened, or any of these projects that you're excited to see come out here?
So I was teaching two of the classes. I was teaching the capstone class, and in there we have 140 students. They're divided into 11 teams, making all kinds of a variety of different games. And so that's a 2-semester class, and they're at the halfway point. And so we call it alpha. And that means that it has all the basic functionality. It may not be the artistic end, it might not be there. There might not be music in it. And it's really, at this stage of the game, we're trying to figure out where elements of the game need to be improved to make it more fun. And so I've taught that class, and all 11 of those games are out here. And one of the things that we're doing that's interesting this year is the students are not only having people come and play their games, but they're also doing formal play testing of those games. So they keep track of how they're being played, who the demographics are of who plays them. So that's one class. The other class I just finished this semester, or we're just finishing, is the first semester of our master's program. And excuse me, it's another project class. It's called Rapid Prototyping. And during the semester, students of small teams, like 5 or 6 students, work together to create a prototype of a game. And then they do all kinds of different constraints and different requirements, and by the end they show whether or not this idea was a good idea or not a good idea. And we're showing off a number of the games that were prototyped. We prototyped, there was 12 different teams, and there's probably 70 different games that were prototyped.
Oh, wow, okay, that is some rapid prototyping.
Yeah, they do it about I think the shortest was 9 days, and the longest was about 20 days.
Okay.
So yeah,
making them work quick, I guess.
Well, you learn what the point of it is to learn is to actually find what's most interesting and innovative, and prove that piece is very, very interesting. And if you can show that it may have merit, then often in industry they will do these sessions where they'll try to do some experimentation, and then they say, well, you did 20 different games. This one is the most interesting. Let's keep working on that one and green light it and move on to more development.
Okay. We got a useful industry skill there to have then. So those two classes you said. Sorry, how many of the rapid prototyping things are being shown?
So we made between 60 and we made around 60 games at least. I don't know. There was a whole bunch of them. They're showing probably 20 games here today. And they were some of the ones. Most of the ones they're showing, I think the last project that they did, they're all of those are being shown, and then a few other ones that are kind of that were in between that they're going to show as well. So there's about 20 different games that are being shown.
All right. Very exciting, and we're going to try and get as many of those games presented here on this broadcast for you guys viewing at home, for anyone who couldn't make it all the way out to Salt Lake City to check out everything cool happening here. All right. What would you say is kind of the, I don't know if I want to phrase it like, the biggest accomplishment of the last semester, if you were to kind of look at the program now as it is today, as opposed to what it was last year before we came here, what would you say that is?
I think at the undergraduate level, the things that we're seeing is that students are, during their academic careers, we're getting better at teaching, and students are getting better at figuring out and developing the game development skills, so that it seems like every single year the games that they're building and the process that they're using to build the games, all of that is improving, and they're just getting better and better. And it's just surprising. If you go back and look at some of those games that we did 10 years ago, it's like they're not even the same. You know, it's just incredible how good they are.
Well, that's certainly good news. That's what you want to see happen here. The learning process itself is learning. I was kind of
exactly
what you want to see here.
Yeah, that particular game is one of our second-year master students, and so what they've been doing is working on. There's about 60 students in that class, and they're working on a two-semester game project in teams that vary from 10 to 20 students on the team, and making interesting games that are extremely innovative. It's just amazing.
Mm-hmm. Do you know anything about this one?
Magic Recall. This one was one that was done as a rapid prototyping game, and the innovation in that particular game was that you would shoot out your spell, and then you had to pull it back before you could use it again. So it wasn't kind of like a normal one-way shot. Okay. This is shoot it out and like a boomerang kind of a thing.
Yeah, boomerang thing.
This one is one called Personal Space, and it really is one that's trying to deal with social anxiety. So it has kind of a serious bent to it. And you go around in the environment, and you don't really want to interact with the other people, and so you try to accomplish various tasks. And they have things where your vision gets more tunnel vision, and your heart starts getting racing as you try to deal with your social anxieties.
That is definitely an interesting perspective on a game. I don't think. Huh.
Yeah, it's definitely a very creative concept.
It's kind of curious to imagine what that kind of look like in the pitch room. They're like, all right, so I want to make a game about social anxiety, and everyone's like, okay. I mean, just kind of feel like that has to be started with someone who had social anxiety to really start and come up.
Yes, exactly. And I think that game developers are very interesting people, and they are a very broad spectrum of people, and you certainly will find people that have to deal with those kinds of issues. And so I don't know whether the person who actually pitched the original idea had social anxiety, or maybe they had friends who did, and they wanted to kind of address that.
Yep. Well, that being said, I think it's kind of unfortunate all the time we have for you. Thank you for the insight you guessed. And any closing thoughts before we let you go here and bring in one of the first projects?
It's amazing how many people want to come out to this. And what we focus on in this particular event really is having the public come in and play the games, which helps influence the design and development of all these games. And then in the spring, we'll have the EAE launch, which is where everybody is publishing their games and they're getting out there in the real world for people to play. And so that's also very exciting. It's nice to see it kind of at the early stages of development and then at the final stage.
It's an interesting before and after,
exactly.
For sure. And, well, speaking of the first before, we do have one of our development teams in here.
Great.
Thank you again for joining us.
Okay. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, for sure. Oops. Just, I'll leave that one here.
Yes.
Just going to take a second. Right out here. Do a little loop around. There we go. Welcome to our live stream here. Don't be nervous. There's only a bunch of people watching. NBD.
Hello there.
No big deal. So, what's your name, your project?
So my name's Galen Fries. I am on Geomancer. We are second-year students in the grad program here at EAE. Andrew's over here. I don't know if we're going to be introducing him as much as I appear to be.
We will be. He's going to be over there piloting through the game. We're going to have a little demo through.
There he
That's
is.
Andrew. Say hi to the back of Andrew's head, everybody.
We see the back of your head. There you are.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm Galen. We're Geomancer.
So, is that the game already up and...
That is the game. That is the start of our level that we have here today.
Yeah, so I guess you can start playing through that. Andrew, why don't you tell us about kind of the inspiration for this game? Where did it start? What were we trying to accomplish? What did you accomplish?
Sure. So Geomancer is a 3D action adventure game where you're using earth manipulation abilities, or geomancing as we're calling it, to overcome obstacles, solve puzzles, and defeat foes. And the idea behind it was we wanted to give players like this freedom of ability, this freedom of movement, and Andrew over here was the vision holder, and he took some inspiration from games like Breath of the Wild and Journey, and what you see before you is kind of this puzzle solving that we have here. But yeah, so what you're seeing is Andrew running through up first is our rock slide. You saw him picking up some rocks and elevating pillars of rock out of the earth. He can also grab these boulders that are flying at him and try to defend himself, but he may die if he listens to my advice. So don't necessarily do everything that I say.
Yeah, though they seem to be coming in a little fast for what the controls are letting him do here.
Oh yeah, no, this is a very fun puzzle. So we really like just this freedom of movement and mobility. So there's like a couple ways that you can get through each of these puzzles. We have collectibles that will be not just bright orbs in the finished game, but these mosaic pieces. As kind of the narrative behind this game is you're this lone wanderer out in a desert, caught in a sandstorm all by yourself, and as you're walking along, you get sucked into the ground and fall into this ancient temple. Striking and damaging this mosaic in the process, and like the guardian spirit comes out and scolds you for hurting the statue. He tells you all the geomancers are gone, and you've just kind of hurt the seal that was holding back some of the things that they were doing to protect the desert. So this guy gives you the geomancer powers and sends you out into the sandstorm once more. And so these collectible pieces are going to be like fragments of the mosaic that you broke that you can collect along the way, giving the player some side objectives instead of just moving point A to point B.
So is he steering this rock that he's standing on right now?
Yeah, so this is one of the fun things. You can essentially telekinetically almost push and pull the different rocks in the environment, and one way to get around things is to jump on top of it and fly yourself around.
Wow, that crumbled really well.
So I do love the way that these pillars crumble, and you'll see that we use them to a different extent a little bit later in this level. So we definitely have some really great artists on our team who've done quite a lot of great stuff that I'm very happy with.
I really loved that effect of where the rock spires came out of the wall.
Oh yeah, no, this all is very visually appeasing, even though it's not in its final state yet. I think it's coming along very great. And as I heard Bob saying earlier, we do launch by the end of next semester, so this is really only about halfway through what we're doing. And we will have EAE launch at the end of April or beginning of May. I'm not sure exactly what the date was.
I'm sure I'll ask enough of people by the end of the day. We'll have it sorted out.
So we have to launch a little bit earlier than that, and this will be out, I believe the date we're setting right now is February 27th. That way we can get out ahead of GDC, which is the Game Developers Conference, which is held about in the middle of March out in San Francisco, and we have a presence out there that we send several people from the school to check it out and get the experience. So what you're seeing right now is Andrew's gone down into a shrine, which is a bit more of a linear Legend of Zelda dungeon-like
Okay,
experience, and he's going through and opening some gates by pressing buttons using his different abilities.
Okay, so it really has kind of that Breath of the Wild vibe where you're going through this big area until you find one of these more isolated spaces where I imagine a bunch of the mosaic pieces are.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and like really, again, we only have as of right now this elevatability and the pushing and pulling. So you have a limited amount of abilities, but a great amount of freedom in how you use them. One thing I've seen people doing, other than what Andrew's currently doing, is like bringing a rock with them into the shrine area and like flying it around to dodge some of these puzzles. And there's been a bit of joy on the faces of the people as they figure out that they can do that. So it's been really fun to see what people can do with our game.
Yeah, got a emergent gameplay thing going on.
Oh yeah, we've had people become very attached to their rocks, kind of akin to the companion cube in Portal, where they've been called children and drugged through the level by several people. So yeah, no, there's definitely a bit of excitement around this right now that we're enjoying.
So I guess as you're getting ready for EAE launch, what are some of your goals for this project as it moves towards its final form?
So what you're seeing right now is what we're calling our vertical slice. In industry terms, vertical slices are a bit more complete than what you're seeing, but since this is a school project, we've set the goalpost for that a little bit closer to home. But what we're expecting to do here is this is the opening section of our game. So after Andrew comes out of this shrine, what you'll see is a sandstorm area, but in our final game, we're going to be opening up to a small open world that will have 2 temples that are longer indoor experiences like this, a little bit longer than what you're seeing here. And we will end on what you're going to see here is a golem fight, and that's actually going to be the final boss of our game and not placed where he is here. So there's going to be this buildup of you going through this open world area. We're going to have, I believe, some additional powers that you gain along the way, and then you're going to use all those powers that you've gained to take on this golem, which is kind of the end goal of what's happened with this mosaic, as he's been awakened and he's causing destruction on the environment. You want to stop that. But yeah, so what you're seeing is very much a small slice of what we want to do. We want to open up this area and give the player more that they can just kind of play around with, so that it's not quite as linear of an experience as what you're seeing here.
Yeah, I mean, when you have these kinds of like physics-based powers, you want to let people push the limits, see what they can do.
Yeah, and like so you saw earlier that he could jump on top of the rock and fly around, but we also have some abilities where we'd like to like create a rock that you can sled around or like skate around on your own, and a couple other movement-based abilities that we'd like to get in there, just so that it's not quite so you're just walking from point A to point B. You're actually like playing around with these abilities as you do that.
Yeah.
And then again, so this is the golem fight that I was mentioning before. And again, here are these destructible pillars that you saw back in that area before. And so we have quote-unquote combat in the game, but we didn't want to have direct combat. We didn't want to have you going out and fighting enemies, because that's kind of different than how the rest of the game feels, and we want to keep the player in a singular mindset. Right. So what you're doing is you're in this arena with the golem, and you're destroying the pillars so that the roof will then collapse down on the golem. Since this is a little bit earlier in development, as you can see, like the golem's not really moving, so we're going to be touching that up, and we don't have like a ceiling collapse animation. So I'll let you see the fun way that we've decided to end this golem fight right here instead, so that we could gloss over the lack of time that we've had so far to finish it.
I say what? Well, you've got me curious.
Okay, here
I
we
think
go.
that was
And
the
that
last
should have been
one,
it. Yeah,
and-
so we just have the golem shatter on himself.
His life force was tied to the pillar.
Exactly,
That's,
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's
Get into the deep lore. That's why he was
Blob,
standing
yeah.
around them in the first place.
Exactly. But yeah, so that's what our game is, and we're very excited with where it's at. It's being played here at EAE Play. If you guys come in, we have 8 stations set up. Half of them are controller, half of them are keyboard and mouse, so that you can have whatever experience makes you happy.
All right, that's pretty interesting. Andrew, did you have anything to say? Your mic is live.
So we've been hearing your chuckles as you play.
No, yeah, it's been a great project that we've been working on, and to see it come to this point right now, it's been really exciting. So
Yeah, and like I said, Andrew's the vision holder, so this has been like his baby from the start. So it's been really fun to see you. He's been digging into like the design side, so he's been putting many of these puzzles together and leading that.
But the team's been amazing. They're really getting everything pulled together. And
Oh yeah,
just,
no, the team's great.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's been really exciting.
It looks really cool. I'm kind of just like pumped by proximity here.
Oh yeah, no, like watching everybody build this up like day by day has been amazing. As I am not one of the people who gets his hands on, so I get to see it being built from the sidelines, and it's
Andrew,
very
would you like to
exciting.
join us on?
Sorry,
on the couch
sorry
since
to
we
keep
have completed
interrupting
our
you,
little
man.
game?
No, I mean it's been great to like have these concepts and then it kind of give them to the artists and kind of give these design ideas to the engineers and see what happens and be able to play around with that. And the design side of things it's been a great project to be a part of. So.
All right. Well, I'm going to be very excited to see you guys at EAE launch. Is there anything you would like to say before we let you go and bring in the next game?
I'll let Andrew go first as I keep stealing from you.
Oh no! Just check us out. We have our website live right now.
Yep. So our team is named Emergency Entrance Studios. So if you go to emergencyentrancestudios.com, we have that. We have a Twitch that's currently live, and we'll be starting some streams of development soon.
Oh, okay.
And we have a Twitter, which we'll be updating soon as well. All of those are Emergency Entrance Studios.
Right. Okay. Well, that is just some exciting production value that is putting my poor undergraduate heart to shame here. Well, thank you so much for coming in here. It's been great to have you. Your game looks amazing. By the by. But we kind of got a few around here we want to show off. So
yeah, I was gonna say
out.
let's not just hog the spotlight. Let's see what else
Scram.
you guys got. Sorry, let me get out of here for you.
All right, lovely. We did have the next team lined up. I didn't actually know that when I said it. All right, hello. I don't know. You are live. Welcome. Next team is we're finding out what we're gonna do. Hey, hello. Welcome to the broadcast.
Yes, thank you so much.
So, what's your game? What's your team name?
Yes. So my name is Brogan. We are about to show you a game called Santa Surf. It is
Did
an
you say Santa Surf?
we've heard that many times. Sand to surf, 3
Oh,
words, not
okay.
Santa Surf. Although it is almost Christmas, so I can see the confusion.
Okay.
Sand to Surf. It is an open-world sandbox exploration game where, funny enough, you play as a guy who is surfing around in the dunes of a desert, trying to restore water to his now desolate planet.
Okay, kind of. Where'd you get the idea from this from?
You know, that would be a better question for our inspiration Gary over here. I think Dune was a huge inspiration. The series Dune, which.
Well, welcome to the
we
couch,
got Gary.
Gary. Okay.
Gary's he's kind of the brains and the mind behind the idea here. So why don't you tell us?
Okay, hold on. Why do
Gary?
we keep throwing the brains and the minds and the inspiration vision guys on the computer? Why do we keep doing this?
Because we're just the brains and the minds just want to control everything. So
Ah,
like, give me the
I talk-
controller, let
I
me
talk
do
mechanics.
everything.
That's my
All
job.
right, all right.
So you were asking about the inspiration.
Yes, yes.
So the inspiration actually came from a different indie game that I was playing prior to Capstone, which is like you were in this hourglass and you had to solve some puzzles, but the sand was continuously filling up.
Okay.
And it was really slow though, because like you had to solve all these puzzles, but the sand would cover up the puzzles, and there wasn't enough time to get anywhere. I was like, man, like playing this guy that's just plodding along, like why can't I like surf along the sand or move somewhat faster? And that became like my little pitch for Capstone. And everybody kind of jived
loved
with
it.
that. Yeah,
I
people
know I
liked
did.
it, and then it expanded into this like open world kind of exploration type game, which is really difficult when you like. It's an exploration game where you can't stop, or it's like hard to stop, and so you're always having to go super fast. So like, pretend like you're playing a regular game of Mario, but you're in the Mario Kart instead. You know, it's kind of how the design has been kind of tricky.
Yeah, certainly sounds like it. We getting the build up here, I imagine, pretty quick and.
It's a big boy.
Okay, got it.
We say big boy. It's a couple gigs, which
Alright.
comparatively, is pretty big. This is the first time that a lot of us have ever worked on anything remotely open world. So it's been kind of a crazy learning curve for a lot of us.
And where's your experience been like kind of prior to this then?
Yeah,
Where are you
so
coming from?
going through the program, I've worked on multiple different games, but most of them have been a lot smaller in scale. Platformers, 2D. I've done some 3D stuff, but never to the extent that we are doing. The area that we're going to be playing around with here, you'll see in just a couple minutes, I think is only maybe a tenth of the size of the total area that we envision using. And I mean, it seems big now, but wait till you see it. It's been a very steep learning curve, trying to figure out how to make things work and not have huge buffer times and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
but it's functioning and it's a lot of fun. So it's working.
It's
So
working.
That's all we can ask for at this point. Yeah, we have a functional build. So
That's the dream right there. So I guess speaking of dreams, what's kind of your vision here? Kind of as you're getting ready for EAE launch, what are the features you're really hoping to add as we get further along?
So a lot of it is the narrative element. That's probably the underdeveloped element of it now, because like you're not really sure why you're surfing on the sand. But
I mean, do you need a reason to surf
I
on
mean,
the sand?
that's what we're banking on today.
Okay.
according to the players, no, you don't.
All right.
You just do it.
Are we ready? Okay.
Okay,
all right, we've
we're
got
ready to
it.
go. I'm going to scoot down just a touch here.
Just appreciate the new real estate you have available to you.
Yeah, exactly. I have some breathing room here.
All right. Here we go.
Okay.
So we're gonna let Gary jump in here. Still very much white box. A lot of our stuff is still white box, but you get the idea.
So you kind of like some snowboarding like movement going on there.
Well, mechanically, we had a lot of inspirations. We actually incorporated different things from both snowboarding and skateboarding games.
Oh, okay.
So we played games like SSX, which were, I remember playing those games back in my PS2 days. But
For sure.
so we gained a lot of inspiration from that mechanically. But one big difference, one thing that was, a lot more challenging was we are not working with consistent downward slope like you are when you're snowboarding. A lot of it is, kind of flat, like you see in a desert. So we also had to kind of pull some inspiration from games like Skate 3, games like that, so that we kind of had an idea of what to do with these more flat spaces when you're not cruising down slopes and stuff like that. So,
all right. Well, this looks like it's really fun. I kind of wish I was the one with the controller over there.
It's a different experience playing it than watching it, absolutely. But I mean, even though I've played this about 1 million times, even in its worst states, I still, every time I pick it up, I still can't help but mess around for like 15 or 20 minutes. So like I was saying earlier, you see here, this is just kind of the landscape horizon you're looking out across, and it seems huge, but again, this is only
but you're also very fast.
It's true, yeah, and that's kind of why we wanted to have a bigger area, but this is end goal. This is only about maybe a tenth of the size of the overall game, the space that we want to use. So I'm going to let Gary kind of play through it, and I'll talk about the different mechanics and elements as they come up. So so right now you can see it's just kind of a very open, dry, very humid-looking desert. Little bits of water here and there. So the idea, narrative-wise, that we wanted to capture was, this planet was once, a thriving civilization.
Okay.
That, for whatever reason, for whatever unknown reason, lost all the water. And so you are trying to activate these different towers throughout the desert, like the one that Gary activated a minute ago. And those are going to help restore the water. So right now we don't have it implemented like we would like.
Whoa, what is that thing?
That, that's one of our giant sand crabs.
Giant sand crabs.
Yes, very much heavily inspired by Dune. These large crab-like chitinous creatures.
Do you attack its weak point for massive damage? Or?
Not right now.
The concept is that that they carry those orbs that you're looking for to activate these nodes,
Right.
and as you collect the nodes, it also propels you even faster forward. So you could chain a lot of these crabs together to get your speed up higher and higher. if you
Correct.
collect.
Okay.
Yeah, so in the early stages, we had toyed around with the idea of combat and being able to, you know, destroy these creatures or fight them. But we have since kind of put that idea on the back burner as we wanted it to be more focused on the exploration of it, where you're not so much worried about, oh, I gotta fight this thing and kill this thing, as much as it is, you know, just enjoying the space that you have to work
So
with. and-
even your enemies end up kind of being a means to traverse the space faster.
Absolutely,
Yeah. Okay.
absolutely. And I don't want to give too much away, but we do also have some pretty cool and creative ways in the works that you'll be able to actually interact with the enemies that we have in the environment to do some cool stuff. So you'll have to tune in later. Come to the next EAE play to see what we have in store. We've got some really cool stuff enemy wise, but.
Certainly looks like so something that kind of like caught my attention very early. Kind of like, what's going on with this scarf? What's
Yeah, it's a.
Is it there because it looks cool? Just because it does look cool.
Yeah. So the main character is kind of, you know, he's this nomad, this lone wanderer, the one guy kind of left to brave the deserts. And you can kind of see again in our we have our concept art there on the right. He's decked out in your nomad garb, and so he's got kind of the baggy clothing and the goggles and stuff to shield him from the sun. And we just felt that a scarf would, you know, accentuate that really nicely and give it a little bit more movement, and really kind of accentuate how fast you are actually going, because that's one of the things we really wanted to play up on a lot was speed.
Oh yeah, you
and
really
traversal.
nailed that. I'm just kind of
So-
like, kind of in the back of my head,
Yeah.
like, whoa, this is fast.
It used to be faster. we've actually toned it down a little bit. Yeah, you used to be able to just absolutely cruise. You could hit one of those dunes at the right point and
Just
launch yourself halfway across the map. So we've toned it down a little bit, but we've done a lot of things, just little things that kind of emphasize the speed and things like that. We've got I don't know if you can see it very clearly here, but we also have kind of a little dust storm particle
see
effect
that.
around him as well.
kind of really accentuates the wind in your face
Right.
type thing. And
Kind of, we wanted it to be kind of like the effect when you're, you know, driving in a snowstorm and you see the snow just kind of like flying past you really quickly. That's kind of what we wanted to go for. I think it worked out pretty well. So
it does. Been meaning to ask, what's going on with the bar off to the side of that character there?
yeah, so that's one thing that we kind of implemented. I don't want to say at the 11th hour, but it was kind of at the 11th hour.
Okay.
So you,
10 and a half?
as you can see, his board is actually getting red hot. So it's almost the sand is lava kind of effect,
All right.
where one of the reasons people don't want to traverse this desert is because it's so dangerous and treacherous and hot. And so that's one of the reasons you're restoring water to the planet, is so that people can move freely again without having to worry about basically burning up. So this meter here is basically showing you how hot you're getting. So the longer you spend on the sand and not in the air or in the water, and we don't have a lot of water right now, which is the unfortunate part, but the longer you spend on the sand or without it being in the air or the water, that meter is going to fill up, and eventually you die.
Oh dear.
From heat stroke.
Dark, but but thematically coherent.
Yeah, so it adds a little bit of danger and risk to it. We can see Gary showing off with some cool tricks there. Again, you can see the SSX inspiration in the tricks.
Oh yeah, you have to have those in there.
Yeah, absolutely. I know at one point we had some things mechanically built in with the tricks. Do we still have those, Gary? Do you know?
Yeah, so doing tricks is another way you can cool yourself off. For that meter, you can see I haven't been snurfing that long, but I'm about halfway there. If I can get to a dune and perform a trick, it kind of cools off the board a little bit, and as well as each of the orbs that I collect cools off cools off the board. And so those are sort of survival mechanics where you're still encouraged to move very quickly in order to keep your speed, and to get to another water source or something to cool off the board. But in the meantime, you can collect the orbs, you can do tricks, and you can see the little steam jets coming off. That's our effect right now for showing that you're offloading a bits of steam or bits of heat.
All right.
And that's the other idea, is that activating these towers creates more of these water pools, so you have more freedom to move around without dying, essentially. So like, I think there's a water
It's
pool
all
right
coming
here.
together. I think.
It does. It does all come together. And I tell you what, trying to find a cohesive way to kind of bring all these mechanics together and make them work at the same time was extremely challenging from a design standpoint. That was one of the biggest challenges that we had in the early stages of development. We had everybody that had such cool ideas, and we wanted to implement so many cool things. And at one point, we had to kind of take a step back and just say, you know, how are we going to make this all work? We had the
It
discussion.
sure looks like you've made it work pretty well.
We did, and that's the really cool thing. There were a lot of hard talks we had about, you know, we might just have to cut this or scrap this. End of the day, there was actually very little that we had to scrap. We managed to make a lot of it kind of work.
Well, now you've brought it up, I kind of have to ask.
Sure, go for it.
What was your favorite thing that got cut? What was the darling you had to kill?
My favorite thing that got cut.
I'm interested in hearing this.
Most of the things that I wanted implemented, honestly, we kept. One thing that we did cut that kind of hurt my soul a little bit was we used to have a boost that was implemented. And I still, if I'm honest, don't know what happened to that boost. We used to be able to, I think we had, I don't remember what the macro was, but you used to be able to boost and even build your speed a little bit faster. Instead of just having to kind of use the dunes, you had a way to kind of do it manually. So they cut that, and it makes it a little bit more difficult to build that speed, I guess, but I can see the reasons why they would do it. But yeah, that was probably the little heartbreak moment for me. And unfortunately, I was given no warning. I just started playing one day and there was no boost, and so it hurt my soul.
Yeah, that came from something we've got back and forth about, and Raul and I have been a little bit incommunicative about it. But the idea of it was we wanted to favor utility of the environment with the board, and so you can see me crouching and standing up a lot while I've been playing, and the idea is that we borrowed from skateboarding. I'm going to die here if I don't get to this end.
You did mention you brought in inspiration.
Yeah.
That being said, though, I think we're kind of
okay.
running out of time
You're
here,
good.
so you want to
Yeah,
kind of
we've
get
got
any
a lot
closing thoughts
A
before
lot of
we
games to get through.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work to go, but honestly, we have made so much good progress in the last few weeks. I am absolutely thrilled with the way that this game is turning out. It seemed like such a huge scope for a team of 14 people that I don't know if any of us have worked on an open world game, and to be able to pull this off was just absolutely phenomenal. And you know, we have scrapped so little. I can't wait to see what next semester brings. So next EAE Play Day.
All right.
We're gonna have
the
game
last
of
group kind of had a website. Do you have anything you want to put forward in that regard?
We don't have anything official just yet. We in the next couple days, though, next couple weeks, we are going to be pushing some of that stuff out. So,
Yeah. So is there a team name that people can look up here in a week or so?
yeah, Golden Ratio Games.
Golden
is
Ratio
the name of our
Games.
team. Easy enough, yeah, pretty easy to remember. We were kind of surprised that it hadn't been taken yet, but yeah, Golden Ratio Games. Keep an eye out. We should have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, maybe even our own website, but that's the name to look out for.
All right.
So.
Well, with that said, I think we're about ready to bring in the next team. I think
Absolutely.
they're working on something. I think it was called We Went Back, or
Haven't played it, have heard of it.
Okay,
I'm sure
well,
it's great.
well, we're about to find out here. Thank you
Awesome,
for
thank you
coming
so
in.
much. Thank you so much.
Get out.
Yeah, all right.
Welcome back, folks, to the EAE Play live stream. I am still Archie Smith. That's still my name, and I'm joined here by the.
My name is Emily Choate.
All right. Well, what was the name of your game? And
the name of the game I'm here to show you today is called We Went Back. It's a psychological horror game set inside the hollow center of the moon.
Oh man, I'm a little faint of heart. Am I going to be okay here, or?
I don't know. It depends. That depends.
Okay.
We do have a couple little scares in the game that we might be able to show you.
Okay. Just got to sort out those nerves now. So I guess what kind of inspired you to do this to us all?
So this horror game is based on real life conspiracies about about our moon and why we have never gone back since the 1970s. So in this game, you're going to be exploring a moon base that is located in the hollow center of the moon, and you are unraveling the mystery of why we went there and why we never went back, while also trying to escape this space. Jacob is encountering perhaps something kind of spooky. Something does live inside the space station and is there with you, so you are not alone.
It's
on
a
this
silhouette,
journey.
my one true fear.
Spooky shadows.
Yes.
So what he's doing here is he's exploring our environment. Our space station is shaped like a torus or a donut that keeps the player walking and looping in circles. Each time they successfully complete a task on a loop, it will change the play state or the condition for the next loop. So what Jacob is doing is he's looking for a clue right now to solve a small puzzle. And that puzzle is going to help him get a password to escape this space station.
Okay. So is that kind of the whole game loop? Just round and round you go till you solve all the
round
mysteries?
and round you go until you've collected all the clues. You'll collect enough clues. Here's one. For example, you can see there's actually a half moon, a phase of the moon inside of that mug. And it disappeared, it flashed away, and it's going to end up in his inventory. You'll see it here in a second. But he's only finding one clue in this build of the game, but there will be at least 4 clues in our final version that you'll be finding. So now that he's found the clue, he's going to try and find our secret conspiracy room.
Okay.
So the player will take all of the clues that they have, and they will be magically transported into a space that doesn't quite make sense. It's a secret conspiracy room left by someone before you that kind of starts to hint at what is inside the moon and why it's there. So he's going to show us that. And inside the conspiracy room is where you actually solve the puzzles. Each clue will come with a phase of the moon on it. There's 8 phases of the moon.
Yeah.
So you will collect the clue at the phase of the moon. Ooh. Oh, we got a dead captain there.
Okay.
Jacob, you want to take a look outside?
Do we?
So you can see you're inside the moon.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Some creepy space suits.
And I would struggle with this. I mean, maybe I'm easily spooked, I guess. But just, oh no,
You know, it's not too scary yet, but it's definitely dark. This is a conspiracy.
Well, that's all it takes for me.
That's all it takes.
It's dark. Okay.
Not a lot. So this is the conspiracy room. This is a decoder ring or an Alberti cipher. It's got 2 discs. The outer disc has phases of the moon on it, which are found on all the clues, and the inner disc has letters. So this puzzle is 3/4 of the way solved already, just so that people can get a taste of the puzzle experience
So
while
you
we
only
flesh
need the
all
one
those out.
clue that you said.
Okay.
Okay.
So you only need 1 clue, which if you look on the sticky note, it says new moon on it, and the ends are really bold. So Jacob set the cipher for the N to line up with the new moon, and when he did that, it populated the R on the last Polaroid. So now he's got these 4 Polaroid pictures that he has to rearrange in a certain order to solve an anagram. As he kind of places them down here, he can try to.
Read those. What is that? Oh.
We
Oh,
still
yeah,
have
the
to
letters
build the
for-
lighting in this room,
Okay.
so it is a little bit dark. But we have
letters.
R, T, S, and A are the
So
4
like a
letters that he's
Star is
unscrambling.
probably the word we're spelling here, or
Actually,
rats.
rats.
Ah.
So you can see it says solved in the upper right hand corner. So now that he has this word rats, he can go type it into the computer terminal. in the full gameplay experience, you won't have those other 3 letters solved for you. You'll be collecting 4 blank clues, and then also you'll be finding a clue that tells you, okay, this is the key to the cipher, or the letter in which we line up to decode the rest. And then you unscramble the word to type it into the computer as a password. So, and here it is.
There. Okay. Well, I think we got a pretty solid idea of kind of how you go through it. What are some of your goals for this build by EAE launch?
By EAE launch, so like I said, we currently have 1 clue inside the build. We would like to have at least 3 more. You'll pick one up kind of on each different core loop through the space station. We also plan on having a ton of environmental props littered about the space, documents, voice recordings, photographs, some objects that tell the story of the conspiracy theory that we've written. The conspiracy theory tells the story of JFK and why he was assassinated for proposing that we go back to the moon because something lives inside of it.
Okay, so we've got like moon landing stuff, JFK. Do we have any lizard people in here, or?
You might have to find out if we have lizard people. We definitely have an alien. Not sure if he's reptilian or not.
Okay.
We'll find out.
Guess we'll just have to wait and see. So apparently Dead Thread Games is
Yeah,
the name
you
of
can
your
check
team?
out our website, deadthreadgames.com. Our website actually currently features the first few portions of a secondary game, an ARG. So if you kind of look carefully on the website, you will be able to find some clues for an ARG that is based there. You'll be entering in a series of usernames and passwords as well on the website to kind of learn more and more information about the JFK conspiracy.
Okay.
So.
That's pretty cool. I mean, how do you come up with the idea for this? Were you just like sitting around,
I
it hasn't been made into a game?
watch a lot of conspiracy theories, documentaries, so it's unfortunately all up here.
Yep. Well, I think we're about out of time here. Do you have any closing thoughts, things you want to share with the people back home?
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Dead Thread Games. Come check us out at EA Play. Thanks.
Okay. Did our lovely player over here want to?
This
throw
is
any
Jacob.
words?
Hey? Yeah, I'm Jacob.
Did you want to say anything before we kick you out of here? Because that's what's about to happen.
No, I think she covered it quite well. Got a lot of social media in there, so
all right.
follow us.
All right. Well, we're going to be bringing in our next team then, which I imagine is them. So this is the part where you stand up.
Thank you.
And this is the part where you sit down. All right. How are you? Oh, I'm having a great time. This is fun. God, you have a striking resemblance to Paul Rudd. Has anyone
A lot
ever
of people have said that. I've had at least 5 people say that this semester.
Wow. Okay. Well, congratulations on that, by the way. That's a good person to have a striking resemblance to.
Thank you.
But that aside, let's talk about your game. What is it? What's it about?
Okay, so our game is named Blaze. It is an action RPG where we play as a fire elemental. The game focuses mainly on player growth, destructible environments, and then like exploration.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you start little fire, become big
Exactly.
fire.
So right now we kind of have like 3 forms. So you start off, we named him Baby Blaze, but he's the smallest form of your character. And through the levels and through like picking up different items, you become more powerful. You become, you pick up pieces of yourself, and then you progress to another form. And every time you level up, you can alter your abilities. And currently we do have 4 abilities. It's not on this. Oh, it is on the screen.
Oh, okay.
So this is Baby Blaze. This is the scene where you start. This is the first level. And we have a fireball.
All right.
An AOE, which is just right around you. Then we have a fire breath, which I think is really fun to kind of just run through and destroy all like the cacti and different objects. You can just press that and run through and destroy stuff. And then we also have a firewall or a fire pillar, if you will, which kind of after a few seconds it spawns, and after a few seconds it kind of explodes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So you go around, you fight the bad guys. You said there are things you can collect in these levels, or?
So pretty much the premise of it right now is humanity has kind of taken over or corrupted the other elements.
Okay.
And so you fall from the heavens to to come save your other element brethren.
All right.
And while you're falling, shards of you kind of break off. And you're going through the world, and as you go through the world, kind of freeing the other elements, you do find shards that are hidden around the world. And then, as you can see, most of the environment, we just put a bunch of different breakable stuff, and the forces of how they explode are very different. Lighter stuff obviously explodes a lot cooler than like a heavy rock thing of boulders.
Yeah. Okay, I see that. Do we have the other forms in this build?
Oh, so we do. We put one level up in this build. So right now we're going to go to the next level just to see the next form. So this is the medium-sized blaze. And then you have like your pieces of armor, which is equivalent to kind of what your health is. So as you get damaged, we would like it to have like where your armor kind of breaks off, and around your mana bar kind of like whittles away.
All right.
And then to heal, you break and destroy environmental objects and enemies that kind of can light on fire or do different stuff to kind of gather the flame in.
Okay. That's pretty interesting. So we've gone beyond Baby Blaze. We're not quite at Big Blaze, so we're kind of at Bay Blaze at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. I like what you did there.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
And then, so the next level, you start at Baby Blaze. We just have a pickup to level up to give you kind of, you explode, you level up into this next form. You want to level up one of your skills.
Oh,
and
you have some
right now,
choices there.
what we have implemented is the fireball, and you can either make the fireball stronger, you can turn it into a cluster bomb, or like a multi-shot.
Oh, the cluster bomb thing looks really cool.
And it's really fun. It's fun, especially if there's a bunch of things in the environment, like a bunch of like wells or a bunch of enemies that just all explode on impact of it. And then this one is the multi-shot. You just fire, a few different shots. And then the third upgrade is obviously just like an upgrade to keep the ability the same. If you like how it is, just make it stronger.
Okay, yeah.
And then
Always a good
through
option.
exploration, I guess, like let's say you leveled up the cluster bomb. We're going to put in something where like there's different paths to get to the end of the level, and you might need a certain upgrade to go a certain path.
Okay.
But you're not gonna miss out on any gameplay if you choose the wrong one. You're still gonna be able to get to where you need to go.
Yeah, okay. It's just kind of like a brief diverge before you get back to the...
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Different path, same destination type thing.
Exactly,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool here. So I guess the natural next question, this is just kind of like the halfway point for you guys, right? As you're getting ready for EAE launch, what are some of your big goals here?
Yeah, so the big goals for just getting an alpha is just having all the skills to where they actually are they actually work, they blow stuff up. Different objects in the environment react to different skills differently, so maybe the AoE can't blow up everything in the environment.
Okay.
Or some skills can't blow up everything. And then just to get pretty much the life to where it kind of breaks apart. And then for the next, our goals, I guess, would be just to get the branching paths. And then we're thinking at the end of every level maybe have a boss battle.
All right.
And then have every level. So this one is obviously like an earth. Every enemy's related to earth. So you're trying to save the earth elemental. Maybe the next level will be like a wind elemental or water elemental level, something based around that.
Yeah, okay. Working those classical elements for all the worth there. Pretty interesting to say the least. I do really like the mechanic of you going from the little small guy to the big guy. I think it's a lot of fun. Did I ask you where you kind of got the inspiration from this from?
So our vision holders, pretty much we wanted to make something with elementals, kind of like a Diablo-esque game.
All right.
Where it could be an isometric. Right here we do have a kind of like a third-person camera in rather than the isometric to give it a different feel. But yeah, so pretty much we want to make a Diablo-esque game with fire elementals, and then we needed to connect it. So we're like, oh, okay, you need to save your brethren or the other elementals.
We were able to tie it together there in the end. So I guess, what's your kind of favorite thing about this build as you have it?
So my favorite thing about the build right now is just how almost everything in the environment is destructible. And it's just fun to go into like little sandboxes or little environments where there's so much breakable stuff that all reacts differently, and to just kind of blow it up. And that's my favorite part. It's not so much fighting the enemies, it's just destroying everything.
Yeah. It does look like a good time. So that's pretty exciting. We're kind of running out of time with you here. Do you have any closing thoughts before we throw it to a break?
I mean, check us out. We do have a Facebook page at Charcoal Games, and that's
Okay,
our studio
Charcoal
name,
Games.
Charcoal Games. And yeah, I mean, if you get a chance in the future, check out Blaze.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing your game with us. It looks really cool. Very excited to see where you go with it. That being said, we are going to have to move ahead to a short break here, but we will return with more projects here in just a few minutes. and gentlemen, we're here with more games. And joined here by the creators of, what is your name?
Our game is Chicken Chuckin'. I'm Bridger Smith.
I'm Colby.
I'm sorry, did you say Chicken Chuckin'?
Chicken Chuckin'. Yes, sir.
All right, okay. Well, what kind of game is this?
Chicken Chuckin' is an arena-style demolition derby game in which you shoot exploding chickens at other vehicles.
All right. Well, now I have to ask, how'd you come up with the idea for this?
I didn't personally come up with the idea. One of our team members, Garen, pitched the idea, and I think he just really likes demolition derby stuff, and there's some like procedural generation that goes on with the maps that he wanted to test out, and so that's kind of what the inspiration was.
And then chickens, because why not?
Yeah, why not?
Who doesn't like throwing chickens?
Yeah.
All right. Makes sense to me. So, here in the game, I guess there's a couple.
Yeah, so you can see the vehicle has destructible parts, so the doors will fall off, the trunk, the fenders, and you will just always have chickens that you can shoot. But then there's those special chickens that you pick up, and the blue one does homing, and the red one does a bigger explosion than the normal one.
All right. Yeah, your specialty chicken ammunitions here. Are these other players, or do you just have some AI in?
It's all AI.
Okay.
Yep. So we do have split screen set up, and you can play with up to 4 people. But
and this is our first level. We have another level. Moves the fences, allows players to explore the other areas of the object or map, and hopefully when that level comes out, there's more chaos, more things to pick up.
Okay. What kind of stuff are you looking to add as you go forward?
For right now, we have a scoring system. What we were thinking about is adding an announcer, someone who can like commentate on the general area of things. Maybe give some like more dynamics to the level, like having ramps here and there, some places to hide, some like thick shrubbery so players can go through things and kind of mix things up, especially for multiplayer.
Well, that's
and this is actually just one of the modes. The other mode, everything that you can see outside of this fence, you can drive around in, and the fence will be destructible. And then this is just like a specific arena mode where you're just confined in an open space. But the building, eventually these buildings that you can see will all be destructible.
That'd be pretty cool for sure here. So I guess, how do you win this game? It seems a little competitive.
In this mode, it'll just be by scoring points, killing people, getting hits, dying as little as possible. It's infinite life, so you just go until the time runs out.
Okay, so kind of like deathmatch rules in traditional FPS. Okay.
Yeah, you can't see it, but there's like a score behind the little thing,
a kill count, yep.
Yeah.
We asked ourselves if it was going to matter about the little gray corner overlapping. So far, it hasn't been a big deal.
No, yeah. Well, and it's actually just turned into a white box because we have it maxed out at 10, so he's gotten more than 10 kills at this point.
Oh, okay. Well, someone's flexing over here. Just showing off their chicken chucking skills. Yeah, so what has been your favorite part of working on this project?
Just working in a big team. So far, we've been small teams of 3 or 4, so it's been nice to work in a team of 14. And
14. Okay.
Correct. So.
All right. So a lot of people involved in this one there. Yeah. What engine is this built in?
This is in Unreal.
Any particular reason you chose Unreal?
Yeah. So
we're going for a highly realistic, or just fighting on having things cell shaded. Either way, and Unreal is like the best thing. We prefer that over Unity. It's more streamlined, and our engineers can use blueprints to allow designers like us to just put things in there without having to, look through all the coding and stuff.
Okay, all right.
Like, for instance, a lot of the trees and a lot of the fences are going to be made procedural. So instead of placing them one by one at a time, we can just spawn like 5 trees at a time and then put them at 5 at a time. Just ease of use in Unreal, that's why.
Right. Okay. Certainly makes sense. So, I feel like I already asked that, but I'll ask again anyway because my memory is terrible. As you're kind of getting ready for EAE launch, what is your final vision for this game kind of like?
Probably like 4 or 5 different game modes and 2 different maps. So this one map here kind of turns into 2 maps, but the game plan is to have a city map as well.
Okay.
got a level layout, got a couple things already set up. We're just using EAE Play to get feedback, and then for next semester, really spruce it up.
Okay. Well, that's pretty exciting. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Just something like, the boys are coming over. Let's throw on some chicken chuckers and throw
that's
hands.
The plan.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we got a lot of games to go through. Is there anything else you want to throw out? And any websites you need plugged here?
We've got a Twitter. It's just C Chicken. So CC
Chicken Chuck. Yeah, CC Chicken. Or look up Chicken Chuckin' on Twitter. Follow us.
Okay. Well, so you'll keep them up to date on all the exciting updates
Yes, sir.
as you get ready.
We'll post the builds as they get posted to the website, and then there's a link to our website inside the Twitter as well.
All right. Well, that's pretty cool. Thank you for coming in and showing us your game.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Good time. And we're going to bring some other people in here, and they kind of need to use this couch.
Okay.
So if you would be so kind.
Yep.
No
sounds
worries.
Good.
Okay. We're at it here with our next team. What can you introduce yourself? Tell us about your game.
Yeah, well, okay, my name's Sage. I am the visionary of our game, Cain Shadow, or Raising Cain. It's kind of back and forth, title pending. Our game is a narrative-driven rhythm game.
Narrative-driven rhythm game. Okay, how'd you come up with that?
Our game went through a lot of reiteration, and it all started with just this kind of narrative. Basically, we had this character. His name is Cain.
Okay.
And all we wanted was to kind of show his reprocessing of some childhood trauma.
All right.
Yeah. So
this looks like a whole lot of something.
Yeah, so it kind of started off as an actual narrative-driven beat-em-up game.
Oh.
Where he's kind of beating up his past demons. But we got a lot of feedback that that's kind of not the experience that beat-em-ups provide, a more serious undertone game. So we switched to a rhythm game. We did a lot of research about trauma release and reprocessing trauma, and a lot of the things that came up, I even talked to psychologists, as steady breathing patterns, rhythm, which is where we kind of got this whole idea of a rhythm-based game. Yeah.
So it's kind of a game about overcoming trauma that in of itself is kind of based on, overcoming the trauma.
It's pretty interesting. So our main characters, if you could see, there was two Cains there. There was this adult Cain and there's the childhood Cain. The narrative starts off with adult Cain moving out. He's going to college, but he's moving out, and so he comes across this photo album of all his childhood memories. And all these photos are, happy, nice, smiley memories, but all he sees is the pain and the trauma in the background, right? He finds his childhood artifact in the same box, which is this toy dragon plush. All kids have that sort of artifact they had. And this kind of triggers his memory and motivation to reprocess this trauma, because you can't change what happened in the past. We don't want to push that narrative, but we want to push that you can overcome and heal. And so all of our music, too, is kind of on this pretense of going into your mind, what music would kind of jar this emotion of reprocessing and deep thought. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's actually really interesting. I mean, what does your final vision for this game look like?
It's really interesting because we're just kind of, our goal for this semester was to really push the mechanic and get that mechanic to a T. The UI and the art are all in, more rough stages just to kind of capture the feeling. So we got a lot of good feedback on this kind of changing background. You can see this fluctuating like a kid's drawing it. We'll probably polish that up a bit and push that a little more. And this kind of whole childhood drawing aesthetic as a whole, we're just going to push that more and clean it up a bit. Our biggest thing is probably cleaning up and overhauling the UI at this point. We got a lot of feedback on what would feel better as, rhythm when, would we want the circle to grow, as you can see here, or the other scene where it was shrinking into the circle. So we're just kind of seeing the mechanic is there, but how do people want to play it? What feels best in presentation? And that was our kind of goal to capture. And hopefully by this next semester's goal is to kind of not only fix this UI and have it come all together, but then intertwine this narrative.
Certainly cool. I mean, a very unique concept. I think that's really
right now it's extremely difficult.
And it looks like we're having a bit of trouble hitting all those notes there.
Yes.
Is there like some kind of a health bar or type thing?
It's just the way the mechanic is set up is so they're all in an array and they're just kind of spawning in the intervals of which one it spawns at, and the pacing in between to match the beat is kind of difficult.
Okay.
It's there and it works, but it working is too difficult at the moment. So now that the mechanic is there, we can easily fluctuate, the pace, the speeds, and even the trajectory. So we got a lot of feedback of, if not a straight line, what if the monster, shoots it diagonally or it warps? There's a lot of areas in terms of design and UI we could push now that the mechanic is there. The monster, for context on the monster, is kids don't really know how to process trauma.
Okay.
And so a lot of the times they'll make a manifestation out of it. And so we chose this kind of manifestation of monsters representing some, traumatic things that's happened to him. And these traumatic events will be conveyed in the story. We just haven't intertwined it yet, so we can get down to those mechanics.
Okay, so imagine like once you clear past the monster, you complete a little bit of the game segment, it like kind of like transforms into, oh, what was it really? That sort of thing. Okay.
Yeah. So our full game loop vision will be kind of roaming around your childhood house.
Okay.
We'll have a lot more scenes. Right now we only have 2 to kind of play with the backgrounds a little bit. So we have a lot of different scenes of still images of what's happening. And you'll find moments of trauma on this kind of like still image of a memory. So, maybe the dad's yelling at mom, maybe the mom's crying in the corner, maybe Kane is, hurt in some way. Those will be conveyed in the still images that you'll be able to roam around. And when you do come across those, you'll be able to kind of reprocess it. So you'll jump into the memory, as you can see here, and complete, this rhythm base to release it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess we're a little short on time. So, is there anything else you would like to say before we let you go here?
I'm just, I'm proud of my team. We, this semester was definitely a challenge, and I'm very proud of my team. We all did an amazing job, and I'm excited to, finally provide more of the player experience now that we got those mechanics down. I think it's going to be a really unique and fun experience.
All right, do you have a website or Twitter or anything you want to get at?
We do. The Twitter is Plush Productions, U of U, I believe. Is that correct, Diego? Yes. Plush Productions, U of U. I believe that's the same for our Instagram and Facebook.
All right.
So Plush Productions, U of U.
Yes, anyone who's really interested in this project can go continue to look into those there. That being said, I believe our next project, Architect, is what we're going to be looking at here. Welcome. It's on. Yep, that works too.
Yeah. Sorry. Hi.
Oh, so like introduce yourself and your team.
So my name is Thelman Mehta. I'm a producer for Architect.
All right.
Yeah, our team is 11 people, and we are publishing under the name of Squishfish Games.
Squishfish Games?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. So what's Architect all about?
So Architect is a game where you're going to be playing as an astronaut named Tak, who is not a cat. He's not a cat.
Okay.
That's important. Our artist wants us to be very clear.
All right.
But
Do they like look like a cat? Or?
You will see when the game comes up. It's
Okay.
very
okay.
clear. But so he's on his spaceship, and then he accidentally like crash lands on a small planet, and he has to then gather resources and build up to these sky islands that have more resources, and eventually so that he can like escape the atmosphere and then build a final smaller ship to get back to his main ship.
Okay. Okay. Kind of.
Minecraft meets Grow Home kind of thing.
All right, I see that. Kind of. Oh, I believe we looked at this a little bit during kind of our opening segment here. This looks really cool. Where'd you get this idea from?
So this idea was originally from one of our tech artists, and the initial idea we had was to set it in like a future where you're building just building a single tower and building up into the sky, and hopefully you'll find past civilizations and see stuff like that. Unfortunately, due to scope and the fact that like we only have one artist on our team is a bit of an issue. So instead, we kind of scaled it down to more about still having the building aspect, which we felt was one of the main core engagements of our game,
right?
And to move it more to a goal-oriented thing. But what we're hoping in the next semester that we can work on is to have more creative aspects for the players to make, so they can just decide if they don't want to just hit the goal really quickly, they can play around and build some purely cosmetic buildings and stuff like that. Like
kind of
right
like
now,
sandboxing options going on.
yeah,
Okay.
like we actually have a couple small like the sand blocks that make up this island. We have the player able to make that right now, but that was literally a last minute thing just to see how if people like the creative building features, which from the gameplay we've been seeing pretty good responses, and they're finding it really entertaining.
Oh, that's always what you want to hear. So we kind of have this build in front of us. What do you think has kind of gone on really well for your team?
So the main thing that was going really well and what's been set up is the base idea of building, and the ramps and platforms and movement has been done well. Issues have come from automation, which is more of a late game thing that we have planned.
Oh, okay.
Because we have the plan where, like, you can mine resources by hand and do it manually. But as any like late game Minecrafter or anybody knows, that like you want to start building stuff that can get it to you really fast. So we have like factories that will mine stuff for you, and we have plans set up so that you can power them using solar generators or crank generators, and they connect to warehouses, so that all this stuff is meant to so that you can collect your resources while you're still either exploring, getting to the other islands, or we have indigenous wildlife like the bird you see on the main thing right there.
Yep.
So the indigenous wildlife, there's two types that we have right now. We have the bird, which will attack buildings, and we plan to implement building health, so if you leave them alone, they will destroy your buildings.
Ooh.
And so you have to be careful of that, but you can drive them away. And we also have squids who, they don't attack the buildings, but they will attack you and knock you off. And since the platforms are very small, when you get to high ups, you can end up losing a lot of verticality when you fall down.
Okay.
But we didn't want to punch the player too harsh, so there's no, unlike most survival or crafting games, like it's more about the survival element.
Right.
We don't have that in this game.
Okay.
The player is never in danger of death. It's just time and buildings that they will lose.
Okay, so there's nothing like a health bar or anything like that.
Not for the player. The buildings' health bars will be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's about not wasting your own time on falling off the platform. I got it.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. That's a pretty cool angle to look at it from. So, this is pretty. So you could collect the materials going around like this. You build it up, and man,
yeah, and
those parts have to be
the different
obnoxious.
islands will have like progressively different resources. Like the one on the bottom there is a stone resource, which is what we use for base building and like the platforms. The second island that he was just on had iron, which we can then use to build factories, which will start the automation process and things like that. And it's more progression as it goes up further up. And we plan to have a the final piece that needs to be built will use like a collection of all of the resources, so that yes, the player can beeline straight to the top, but you still need to explore to get the final experience.
Yeah, because your final goal is to like make a little rocket ship to fly up on out of there. So that's going to require this cross section.
Yeah.
Okay. Make do everything the game has to offer. Force the player to have a good time, whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Well, certainly really cool there. So I think that's about all the time we have for this one. Are there any things like websites you want to cut out here? Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, so we are at, the website is squishfishgames.com.
Okay.
We are on Twitter and Facebook at Squishfish Games. And we do have a YouTube channel as well where we've released a trailer, though if you want, we post all our updates on our Facebook and Twitter as well, so you don't have to follow the YouTube. And we are hoping for March 13th release.
Okay.
We will definitely be on Steam. We are going to try and expand to all consoles as well, Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. And hopefully we'll be able to port it there when we can.
All right. Well, so if you are interested in Arc Attack and all those things, make sure to look up that Squishfish Games and all their websites. We're going to go to a short break after this one, but we will return with more games here at EAE Play. Back, ladies and gentlemen, the EAE Play broadcast resumes here with our next game.
Our game is Ballad of the Masked Bandits.
Okay.
It's a stealth game where you play as 3 raccoons and a duster, pulling off wacky Wild West heists.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How do you even like come up with that? Well,
It was 3 a.m. and I had an assignment due.
I see. In the 11th hour, incredible things are possible.
Yeah, especially when you're loopy from being tired. Crunch culture. I don't endorse that.
The things we learned. So, what you say it was kind of a stealth game. What does the gameplay of this really look like?
So you play as you have 3 raccoons, and they're
Right.
stacked up, hidden in a trench coat. So they look like a human, but you can separate them, and they all have they're different masterminds, kind of. So you have one that's more beauty. She's more charismatic, so she can interact with the AI more. Then we have Brains, who is smart, so he can do things like lockpick. We have Brawn, who is buff, and he can break things. So yeah.
Yeah, your 3 Bs of burglary in there.
Yeah, so at this point we've gotten a lot of our controls down. We're hoping in the future to add a lot more interactions, because we want it to feel really natural for the player. But yeah, we just want to throw in as much wacky things as we can.
You have to lean into the wackiness
Oh,
for
yeah.
a project like this. So I take it the different colors, because like you're changing between the raccoons right now.
Yeah, so we wanted to start off the player a little bit easy and have them just have to deal with 1 raccoon at a time, so they can, get their feet wet. But we'll see in later levels, you have the stack with the trench coat. Yeah.
Well, I'm very looking forward to that. That really seems like the mythos and the pitch behind all this, and we'll sign up for. Okay.
Yeah.
Classic little box shuffling to let you platform through.
So yeah, we've had a lot of fun, implementing the AI. We're hoping to have a lot of different AI states and a lot of, we just want it to feel very interactive for the players.
Yeah. So, seems to kind of be aware of your box shenanigans.
You gotta be sneaky or those people get you.
So which one is this blue raccoon?
Blue is Brain.
Okay.
So yeah. Right now he's just trying, so this level is to kind of showcase our AI and kind of teach the player that you need to watch out for them and ways that you can hide from them.
All right.
So if you push the box, they can't see you when you're behind the box. Of course, when they're chasing you, they'll kind of investigate a bit more. So you have to be careful not to get caught. But here you can sneak in. You have to weave around the tables. They kind of lose you when you go under.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think it looked like we picked up a black bag. It's
Yes,
like a
we
trash
picked up a trash bag.
Oh,
And if
okay.
you notice the little black things flying around Brain right now, those are flies.
Oh,
So, yeah. So you'll know if you've picked up a trash bag if you have the flies coming off of you.
Oh, okay. The trench coat
Yeah,
is
the
here.
trench
The
coat.
moment of truth.
The physics are a bit fun on that. So yeah, you can switch between all of the different raccoons. If you hold down one of the buttons, you can see our wheel of which raccoon you are. So yeah.
And so how do you separate from the totem pole?
You separate by jumping, and then you press, jumping is bottom button, and then the top button is restacking.
Okay.
So yeah. And we tried to make it clear which raccoon you need to use for different puzzles. So this one's yellow, like Brawn.
color-coded. Okay.
So we've color-coded it, and then, Brawn and needs a stack, and you can break it. So yeah, we've had a
that's pretty
great effects artist on our team who's been doing some amazing effects. Yeah.
It looks like there's a lot going on. You get some platforming,
Oh,
some
yeah.
stuff, a little bit of puzzle in there as well. So
Oh yeah.
a lot going on. What would you say kind of like your final vision for this game looks like?
Final vision, I think we want a lot of, so we went with a really simple style so that we can have a lot of different art assets in the game. We want to try and make it feel, again, very natural, so you can have really fun interactions with the AI, close calls, you can do funny things, but we really want to flesh out our levels. Right now we have kind of bare bones assets, but we really want you to feel like you're in that Wild West genre, and feel like kind of a spaghetti Western film, because, yeah, you're 3
Makes
bandits,
sense.
yeah.
Oh, what does the trash bag do again? I'm sorry.
The trash bag, it's your objective, so you're trying to
okay.
collect all of the trash before you leave.
Got it.
Yeah.
Because, of course, what treasure would raccoons be stealing but
Yeah.
garbage?
The greatest treasure of all. Yeah, one man's trash is a raccoon's treasure.
There we go. All right. we got our adage quota in for the day.
Yeah.
So, interesting things there. I do think we are kind of running out of time here. Is there any kind of closing thoughts or?
We have a Twitter, so you can follow us at on Twitter at Big Boot Stoots. So, not studio, it's Stoots, STOODTS. We're going to be posting builds there, so yeah, it's going to be a fun time.
So if you want to keep up with the raccoon shenanigans, that's the thing to do. It's Big Boots Stoots on Twitter. All right. Wonderful time there. Thank you for sharing this national treasure with us all. I'm sure it will be a masterpiece as we go forward, but we do have to get some other people in here.
All right.
So
thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. This has been my pleasure. Who's next? Unfortunately, okay. We got the next people coming in, so now would be the time to skedaddle, if you will. Get ready to bring our next team in as they get themselves situated, and they're welcome to sit down here whenever they want. Yep, right there works. Headset on your right. We'll let everyone hear you and the wonderful things you had to say about your game. Speaking of which, what is your game?
So we are from Rain. We are a hack and slash featuring the Prince of Hell.
All right.
Yeah, so you have been dethroned as the prince, and you are working your way back up through the circles of hell. Currently we have our wrath level that we'll be showing you shortly. Yeah.
All right, interesting. So what kind of, said rain as in both spellings there, huh?
It is the R-E-I-N.
Okay.
R-E-I-N, yeah.
So that's the game, but, oh, okay.
The rain,
Okay.
yeah,
I thought
go,
it was like
there
a
you
pun
go.
where the name of the game was like Rain as in sovereign, but you're like, it's the different Rain for the studios. That's how you tell them apart. Okay.
No, that's good.
Okay.
We don't actually have an official studio name yet. We're working on that, so we just put that as the game name for now.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Me and my traditional game dev team, we wasted like 3 hours on our studio name. So maybe it makes sense to put it more on the back burner.
That's okay.
Okay, so how'd you come up with this idea? What's really that inspiration?
So I am the vision and art director, and I did originally pitch the game. I'm a huge fan of like tieflings and D&D, and I love demons. Who doesn't? I'm gonna be honest. I feel like a lot of people do. So I thought, let's make a demon game. I wanted lots of bright colors, but I wanted like dark environments, so hell's perfect for that. As you see now, we have lots of like bones, weapons that are, your kind of scary hell environment. But we also have these really bright colors. Our protagonist is pink, because like, it's perfect.
Right on. Demons in Hell, so hot right now.
Really, it really is.
Okay, so you have like a little extendy sword thing you can grapple hook around with?
Yeah, so the idea is that you have a sword you can hit enemies with, but you can also grapple around the map. You can pull out items to you as well as go to them as you see now. Maybe Dylan will try pulling a rock or something toward him. Yeah, there you go. You can do that with enemies too, though we currently are testing enemies and don't have a lot in the game as of now.
It looks really cool, though. It looks fun just kind of navigating.
It is a lot of fun just playing around, and we're having a lot of success with that so far.
All right. So what's this blue thing following you around? Is that an enemy?
So that's your companion character. Its main purpose is to deliver like story dialogue and kind of push the narrative. However, it'll also help you in boss fights and maybe some other parts of the level. It'll make a shield, for example.
Oh, okay. All right. Interesting. So what's your favorite part about this game? What do you really like about it?
So my favorite part is the direction the art's really taken. We have a lot of really talented environmental artists, texture artists, modelers on the team, and I think it really shows.
Oh, yeah. It looks really cool.
Yeah, thank you. But that's definitely my favorite part. I mean, everyone's having a lot of fun with the grappler part of the game, so I'm glad people are enjoying the gameplay as well as the art. They're both flowing together.
That's really cool. As you're kind of getting ready for EAE launch here in a semester or so, what are some of your big goals to get done before you call Rain, finish, and wrap?
So our current plan is to build 4 levels. This is just our Wrath level. We currently have a Limbo level. We have a lot of the art for. We just need to put it in with the level design. And then we also have a level 4 Greed, which will be kind of a spooky circus from hell.
Ooh,
and then our final level will be some kind of big castle to tie everything together.
Okay, because you have to reassume the throne.
Exactly.
And all that. Okay.
Exactly.
So I guess I'm curious, who took your throne away? How does the Prince of Hell get demoted?
So I don't know if I should say, because I want people to play through and figure out the story itself, because I'll tell you it does have a couple little twists. Though it does have to kind of like a royal betrayal aspect to it.
Okay. That's pretty cool. So, is this a boss fight? Is that what's happening?
Dylan has gone into our boss fight. So we have this big boss. No. This is the boss of Wrath. He throws fireballs at you, spits fire rain. He's quite difficult to beat, but intentionally so, I think.
All right. Certainly looks cool, even if he's just kind of like power posing for the moment.
Let's see if he launches any fire at us, or Dylan can go over and. Oh yeah, he's launching now.
Okay.
Dylan can go over and have him hit. Have him do a melee attack.
So you circle around to avoid it.
So yeah, you have to circle around to avoid his fire attacks. I think Dylan's just showing that off right now. And then you have to grapple to those kind of fishing hooks in the middle and get to the platform he's on to hit him, which is quite difficult because now he'll hit you.
Okay.
So he gets real mad. You have to try and like hit you.
That's
jump over it, avoid him.
Sweeping arm of doom. That's a classic.
Yeah, so you have that slow down, so you can try and avoid it, but it's still.
Can you jump without the grapple?
You can, though it won't always help you out. So the main mechanic is to grapple away. So we did add a jump, but we don't want it to be super strong because we want players to focus on that grappling.
Right. Okay. That's really cool. This dude seems to have a temper.
He does, and I think he fits perfect with like all the fire and bone and stuff. Like he I don't know. He's kind of angry, but he's kind of cute too. Like I really like him.
Yeah, he's got like got those big eyes.
Yeah,
and you're like,
yeah. Yeah, he was fun to design. And I think the artist did a really good job animating him.
Yeah, so I mean, like what kind of size of team are you working with here?
So we have 14 people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if that's like average for the capstone teams, to be honest.
I've heard 14, I've heard 11.
Okay, yeah.
So.
Yeah, we have a good-sized team.
That's pretty cool. So I imagine you go through each level, you fight the boss, move on to the next one.
Yeah, so the idea is you go through the level, there'll be like kind of some platforming elements, some puzzles with the grappler, there'll be some enemies, which again, we don't unfortunately have a lot in right now, but that's okay. We'll have some worms that kind of hide in the ground and pop up, and you have to pull them to you before they go back in. We have hellhounds that are just kind of like going to run at you so far, and then we also are working on a shadow assassin type enemy. Yeah.
All right, well, sounds like you have a lot of cool stuff here. Would you like to, I don't know, get your Twitters or your websites in here before we let you go?
We don't currently have one, unfortunately, but we are working on making one, so hopefully we'll have that soon to give out somehow.
Okay, well, yes, just keep an eye here in a week, maybe type rain into Google and see what happens.
For sure.
Well, find out, and if all else fails, you'll be here for EAE launch, and we can see
we'll
what's
be here,
all.
and then we'll definitely have something to promote us then for sure. We'll get it in the next couple weeks.
Okay, well, it's very exciting. Thank you for showing the game. It's really cool.
I appreciate it.
And well, we're going to bring in our next group, which I think is Strange Creatures.
That's right. All right, awesome.
Thank you, and thank you, Dylan, for playing through this for us. And welcome, next group of people with matching shirts. Is that related to your game? Okay. Man, okay. I've been very impressed with a lot of the teams here, but you are the first people to come in here with merch already.
Yeah, so it's one of those that last week, or 2 weeks ago, was it 2 weeks, I think? We're like, you know what, like, let's do it. We don't think our game's going to be cut. We feel good about it, and so we formed our company about a month ago.
Okay.
So we're Cat and Fiddle Games is the name of our studio. And then we made a shirt for our game, which actually these are going to be the 4 characters that you'll see in game in a minute. Then we've got our company's logo, or the game's logo, on the back.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's been one of those that the team feels good, and
what a
we enjoyed
power move!
Right?
The absolute confidence. So that being said, tell us about your game, Strange Creatures.
Yeah.
Right?
So we're Strange Creatures, and it's a 1 to 4 player cooperative puzzle game. So our idea behind the game is we're a dark theme with a light tone.
All right.
So our game takes place in a testing laboratory.
Okay.
Where you're playing as animals who have been tested on and hybrided together.
Yep. Dark theme. Okay.
Yep. So we've got our 4 characters you can see on screen now. So starting from left to right, we have Rosie, and she's our bullfrog. She's a bulldog and a frog together. Next to her, we've got Arlo, our snakat, who's a snake cat. And next to Arlo, we've got Ernest. He's our Birdle. And then finally on the right-hand side, we have Scout, who is the Lecco. He's a lemur and a gecko. And what we've done is these characters, because they have been hybrided together, also given them amazing powers.
All right.
So if I think correctly, Caitlin, you're playing Ernest? Cool. So I'll go through the other characters really quick. Arlo, his body stretches super, super long.
Oh, okay.
So you can grab boxes far away and bring it back, or pick up your friends and push them out across gaps. Rosie eats things. She's a very hungry girl, so she can eat boxes. She can eat other characters and then spit them back out. So it's like, hey, I want this thing. And then she's like, oh, I might need that. And you spit it out.
As frog dogs are prone to do. Yes.
And then finally we have Scout, who's the Lecco, and she climbs up on all the walls, and she also leaves a sticky trail behind her. That players can grab boxes or anything in the world and stick them to the wall and create little bridges for them to navigate.
Okay, that's pretty cool. But we're gonna see Ernest.
So now we're gonna see Ernest. And Ernest is a Bertle, and what he's gotten a very, very hard shell. So he's able to take these little turret bullets and ricochet them off and send them flying. So like I said, our game is 1 to 4 players. So one thing that Ernest can do, if he's a particularly trolley player, as it were, he can ricochet the bullets at his friends, or protect his friends, up to him or her, whoever's playing it. And so yeah, one thing with our game is we're a physics puzzle game. So we have all these boxes and things in the world that we want to be able to mess up. So like I said, you're in this testing laboratory. You've been experimented on. There's been a malfunction at the laboratory, so now it's time to get out and get out with a vengeance. So you can break all the stuff.
Okay.
So you're gonna see in the next room when Caitlin gets there, we've got a bunch of beakers and stuff, and eventually we're gonna make those so they're shatterable. So you can throw them across the room and break them break everything. And it's also, you've noticed that in this room we've got 4 doors. So if you're playing with your friends, the other doors are where your friends would come from.
Okay, that's interesting. So I'm kind of curious, how does that work? Do you need all the players to get through?
Nope. So that was something we actually decided really early on, is we said, hey, do we want to be a 2-player game? Do we want to do a 3-player game, 4-player game, single-player game? And one thing, like our 2 biggest inspirations in terms of games are Portal and Human Fall Flat.
All right.
So Portal, single-player game initially, and then Portal 2 came out, and you could play it co-op. But one thing that we really enjoyed about, and the same thing with Human Fall Flat, it's a 1 to 8-player game. And so one thing we wanted to do is we said, hey, these games do it really, really well. And like Portal 2, you can play it by yourself or with a friend, and it functions pretty similarly, right? Adding a person is just like, hey, I'm playing with my friends, I'm having fun. And same thing with Human Fall Flat. I can play it by myself, or I can play it with 7 other people.
So like different levels?
So Human Fall Flat, actually, it's the same level. And so that's what we wanted to do here. So we made it so it's a 1 to 4-player game. So every puzzle is solvable by every character. So if you're playing by yourself, you can do everything in the game. Or if you're playing with your friends, it gives you new ways to do it, right? Could be easier, they could make it harder. Like I said, if Ernest is feeling particularly vindictive, he can ricochet bullets to you. And same thing like Rosie, she can eat you. And then if you don't get out, if you don't mash the A button to get out quick enough, she could spit you off a cliff. And so we've made it so it's fun for players to play with each other, kind of troll each other and have fun. But we also made it so, like, if you get eaten by Rosie, you could mash the A button and it'll force her to spit you out.
Okay, so
so there's a way to like anti-grief. So if like you're playing with somebody who just wants to make it a bad time, there's ways to get around it.
Okay, that's interesting. Because you talked about Portal 2 being part of that inspiration there. And that was the best part. It wasn't solving the puzzles.
Right.
It was moving that portal at the last second so your buddy died.
Exactly. And the one thing that we wanted to do is really like play with this idea of you're like helping each other out, right?
Yeah.
And like so you can grief people or not, up to you, like your friend groups. And then also one of the big decisions we made is, do we want this to be split screen or networked? And that decision happened because of our core demographic. We decided, hey, we want this game to be a like family, like we're all together at Thanksgiving, we're playing games, right? So we actually decided to make this completely local multiplayer only, so it's just split screen, and something you can play with your friends on the couch and have fun playing the game.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, long live couch co-op and all those wonderful things. God, this game looks like a lot of fun.
We've been having so much time. I've been very, very fortunate. So my role on the team is I'm the lead producer on the team.
Okay.
And then actually Caitlin, who's playing our game, she's one of our 2 artists. But what we've noticed with this game is we go, our team, we're very, very small. There's 9 people working on this game.
Okay.
We have 2 engineers, 2 tech artists, 2 artists, and 3 producers. And so we went, hey, what's going to be our biggest hurdles? Right? So we have this game that's kind of big in scope, but not massive. And because of how the rooms are set up, if it comes close to our deadline, we can cut a room. Like it's easier to cut a room instead of a feature. And so how do we want to do this? How do we want to set this up? And so what we've decided is we really want to lean super heavy into pre-production.
All right.
So we're focusing on making sure the mechanics are clean, the mechanics feel good, and then really checking out our concept art and making sure, hey, we now know exactly what these characters look like. We've tested it. We've had close to 40 variations on every character. We've said, hey, these are the ones that feel good. These are the ones that outside people have liked. These are the ones that the team have liked. And so we know what these characters look like, and the same thing with mechanics. We played with these mechanics consistently. And what we did is all of our mechanics are verb-based. And the characters, in turn, are verb-based. So the verb for Arlo is stretch, Ernest is spin, Rosie is consume, and Scout is climb. So they only do that one thing, right? And so we played with a ton of different verbs. We tried throw, we tried like harden, stuff like that, and none of them felt as good as these 4. And we're like, hey, these are really 4 basic, and they allow us to solve basic puzzles in unique ways, right?
Okay, yeah.
So that's what we really wanted to focus on, was kind of like the simple game design that anybody can understand, and then the complexity comes with how the players play.
That is really cool. Because what engine have you built this in?
So this is Unreal.
All right.
And the reason we chose Unreal is because we're a small team. Obviously, many people are going to have to wear a lot of different hats.
Right.
So I'm the lead producer, but I've also been working with level design. Our tech artists are doing VFX, SFX, animation, rigging, all that jazz. Have been so everyone wears a bunch of hats. And Unreal Engine, even though it was the hardest, it's a harder engine for our team. Like, they're more comfortable in Unity. We decided, as a team, we know Unreal better. So let's work in Unreal so we all can help in. We can all pitch in and make this a big team effort.
All right. Well, it does look like it worked out for you, and we're very excited to see what you're going to bring at EAE launch. But we are kind of running out of time here. So is there anything else you'd like to say before we give you the boot?
Yeah, so just we've got a website set up. We're at www.catandfiddlegames.com. So there you can check out all of our dev diaries. So the main thing I would say, if you want to check the progress of the game, we don't do traditional dev diaries. I don't like typing them. I don't like writing them. So what we do is we actually have our own Twitch stream that we Twitch stream our dev diary. So every 2 weeks, we show you guys the state of the game, and then all those videos are on our website. So if you want to follow us, check it out.
Can they buy the merch there, or?
So we don't have any merch for sale yet.
Oh,
but,
okay.
If you're here for EA launch, we're going to have swag, we're going to have stickers and everything set up for people to have fun with.
Okay. That's really cool. Well, next up we need to get the guys from Impact here, so now would be the time to vamoose.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. This was like fun, man. God, my wallet's going to be hurting when EAE launch actually comes around. Like, geez. I want to actually play so many of these. Fun stuff. I mean, when was the last time I had a good, co-op puzzle game going? I've been informed Impact's going to be here any second, probably. Hopefully. It'd be a little awkward for me if that wasn't the case. In the meantime, this broadcast has been brought to you by the production team here that's normally used for Utah Esports. You can follow us on Twitter at Utah Esports. I actually think I got that wrong. But the point is, those are the wonderful people behind the cameras and all that. So you are welcome to take a seat here. I'm just filling for time because I don't have anything else to do until you put that headset on. And now, all right, okay, interview properly in focus here. So, who are you, and what is your game?
Hi, I'm Tyler, and as the lead game developer, we're currently working on a game called Impact.
Impact, okay.
Impact, we are basically a third-person combat...
We need that on. They can't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Quite all right. Let's start it. That's kind of inverted here. Let me just...
Oh, okay, perfect. All right. So, as I said, a third-person combat adventure game where you're enshrouded in darkness as this rock monster called by nature.
I'm going to pause you because they kind of missed that first bit. So, could you get the name of the game again?
Yes. So, the name of the game is Impact.
Okay.
And we, at Cave Light, are working on this as a third-person adventure game.
Okay.
Where you're enshrouded in darkness as this rock monster who is summoned by nature to take out the corruption of the city. And basically the whole point of the mechanics in the game is as you move around in-game, you actually create seismic effects that will reveal the environment to you. So it's more like a sonar effect.
Oh, wow. Okay, that looks cool. So guess what do you do, I guess, in this game?
As the lead gameplay developer on this, I've pretty much implemented all of the mechanics that are of the movement, getting all hooked up, the post-process effects for this, the animation blueprints, pretty much most of this game on that kind of stuff. Level design not done by me, animations not done by me. It's kind of like an all-around job a little bit.
Okay, okay. Well, this looks really cool. What do you... there's like levels or...
So right now, you kind of start out in the cave and you walk into this forest level where you are fighting against... what we're wanting to look for is having a slime and something else. The slime is kind of like the main enemy that will be for a center of corruption that will kind of have repeat throughout certain levels. We'll have a corruptor and a corrupted. Particularly the slime will... If he hears nearby combat, he's supposed to be spawning up new enemies. Right now we don't have that in-game, but he'll spawn out new things, like we have a kind of a degraded away owl, or we're working on some other enemies like a bear. But yeah, basically corruption is causing nature to fight against you, and you're trying to fight your way to the end, to the city, to take down the final boss that's causing this.
Okay, that's really interesting. How did you come up with this?
My team has been working heavily on just narrative, and we kind of built off from a baseline of like, how are we going to kind of fill in why he needs this sonar effect. We started off with like just saying the game is called Jump at the first point, where when you jump, things are revealed, and when you're on the ground, nothing is seen. But it's come a long way where our team has been working hard on just getting every little bit of narrative and kind of thinking, oh, that kind of works, and we can kind of wrap it all together with the current mechanics that we've been kind of thinking about, people have suggested. And I think it's come along quite nicely.
Well, it looks pretty cool here. I also like your main character, dude. They just look like the most adorable rock doll.
Oh, yeah. You could thank our tech artist, Maria, for getting that in. You could thank Bryce for doing a lot of mocap. He worked hard, getting 2 hours in of just constant movement.
Yeah, seems like it would be the case. So as you are kind of looking towards your launch day, what is your final vision for this game look like?
It's a tough question, because we iterate so much on this and we kind of think, oh, it'll be this, but through playtesting we find, oh, this actually might be better. Right now, what we're kind of wanting to see is this general journey as you take through the forest, through this underwater lake to the city itself, and kind of have different enemies that will be sort of a theme to those places. And just, it's very simple on the scope of just getting to the city and having the city be the final boss.
Okay, all right. I mean, so you kind of see right now, you go around, you jump, you reveal more of the map, you punch the little slime dudes. Are there any kind of like more features as far as like abilities and movement that you could do in this? Or?
Yes. Right now we just have currently some basic melee to it. We're planning on doing combo attacks with that melee, but to build on that, we're actually working towards having the ability to kind of grab certain rocks on the ground. So like it'll be all these pebbles, and it kind of, you can form it all together in this big boulder. Ooh, and have some really cool heavy attacks.
That would be really cool.
We're also planning on some like ground pound effects, like anything that's like, I would want this for a sense of impact, you know, jumping up and like slamming down and whatnot. We really wanted to kind of put along the side of just like, nature is like emitting through you, so you're just this rock kind of like puppet.
Okay.
In a sense, where you're grabbing other rocks together, kind of like a more of a pendulum effect. If you think like Venom, kind of like grabbing things a little bit.
All right. That's cool.
The typical rocks we're running to grab for weapons will kind of be actually what we think is like previous generations of our current character.
Oh, okay.
Whether it's made by you being dead in this one particular spot or just previous things, it's kind of just giving off that narrative of you're not special, you're not the central hero, you're just another line in the lineage of getting to that point.
Kind of dark, but all right.
Yeah.
Kind of has kind of like that die and retry vibe to it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty interesting. Well, that's kind of all the time we have for you here. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
I'd just like to put a little shout out to our Twitter right now. It's I believe it's Cavelight Game Dev. I believe that's the Twitter handle.
All right.
I can quickly check on that to make sure.
Well, we will let you go ahead and take care of that then. Oh, hey, look, it's right there. It's been brought up by
Cavelight Game Dev. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for showing us your game. Looks really cool. I'm excited to see what that final product's like. But we do have to get the next team in here.
All right.
So
sounds good.
Exit stage left, I guess.
All right.
I actually don't know how stage left and stage right relate to normal left and right and cameras. So
sounds good.
We're just gonna assume exit that way. There's not. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. So we're gonna get our next person in here. The production team tried to tell me what the next game was, but apparently my attention spans will. Oh, personal space. Thank you, production team, for making my job easy. They're so good at their job, so I don't have to be. It's a good time there. I wonder if that mic sitting on the couch like that's making weird noise. If it is, I'm sorry about that. To all of our wonderful. Oh, wait, never mind. We're not doing another game just yet. Taking it to a break. I said the production team makes my job easy, and I still mess it up. That's been sitting there for like 20 seconds. We're breaking now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The EAE Play live stream resumes with our next wonderful team here representing
Personal Space.
Personal Space. All right. What can you tell us about your game?
We are a capstone team. We are making a game that's all about social anxiety and specifically like escaping these escalating situations of friendship and camaraderie and making sure you get away from that as much as possible.
No friendship here. None of that.
No. Got to get away from that. I was the vision holder for the game. I pitched it initially, and we've been awesome ever since. Just absolutely incredible.
All right. Well, we have it open here on screen if our player would like to play.
Yeah. Over on the controls, we have Tristan, our lead programmer. She's been incredible. Yeah.
So you start off in a shopping mall, apparently a very anxiety-inducing space.
Yeah.
You just want to pick up milk, and there's all these humans there, and you're like, ugh.
Exactly. Yeah, we figured everyone has a story of being like lost at the grocery store while your mom runs away from you or your dad, and this is all about that. We have this as sort of a tutorial level, introducing our mechanics of breathing and running away from anxiety, finding those calming zones.
Okay. And what's up with kind of like that blue person with the area around them? Is that who you're trying to find?
So that's a stand-in for Mom right now.
Okay.
And they just keep like bolting away every time you get close.
And here we see that, so the idea behind this tutorial level is there's little snippets to tell you like mechanics. The blue safe zones are the things that lower your anxiety over time. So hidden under the hood here, there's also enemy zones that raise your anxiety. So being closer to enemies raises your anxiety the longer you're near them.
Okay. So stressful things like that, just mobs of people.
Yeah, people have had very strong reactions to just being like mobbed by everyone in the level at the same time. The teachers really want to see a crowd surfing, like rock star level, where you're just like in the middle and everyone's coming towards you.
That's terrifying just thinking about it.
Yeah.
So, what's kind of your final goal here? We've got this grocery level. Is there a lot more goal?
We have 4 levels so far.
All right.
This is the tutorial level. Next up, we have a school dance in like middle school, elementary school. Then we have a college age like house party, followed by a adult life work party situation. And all of them have like distinct level designs. They have sort of different pathing that you have to go through, different emergent narrative that comes from how the level is laid out, how it plays. And each just sort of feels different, and we really want to run with that. And originally we were talking about like 15 different levels. Realistically, it's going to be more like 6 or 8.
Okay.
But yeah, we got a whole nother semester to polish this up.
So I'm kind of curious, are the capsule-shaped people, is that a design choice? Is that a placeholder? Or
It's a placeholder. Some people have enjoyed it more than other people, but we have plans in the work for like kind of noodly characters and animations that will give a little more life to the level. That's what we're thinking right now. We haven't implemented that. We're not sure how feasible it's going to be, but we're optimistic.
So, like, define the noodly. Are these all going to be flailing arm inflatable tube men, or
Not quite, but close. We want like very slimmed down, abstracted sort of figures that leave a lot to the imagination. We want them to all echo sort of that like toon aesthetic, low stress but like high energy levels sort of thing. So we want very energetic motions, very crazy looking characters with bright colors and very different aesthetics to everyone.
All right.
Yeah.
And part of what we're not hearing here in a like another note is we have plans for a dynamic sound. So our game actually has a great deal of sound right now as it is. The sound, like the music speeds up. There we go. Okay, so it speeds up as you move, and it gets a little more hectic as I move into these enemy zones. And we have a heartbeat that causes more anxiety in the player. It speeds up with the anxiety levels. And the calming zones also have their own, like, more calming music. So if we find one of those really quick, we'll be able to hear that more. But we have very high hopes for the sound design of this game.
We've been working with like this professional sound company called Audio Brew, and they're going to be working on some instrumental music for us that we're going to have we're gonna really like double down on that and make it so it varies like depending on where in the level you are and like how you're playing and how close to enemies you are, and everything's gonna sort of influence that. So it'll be like one long kind of jazzy, funky melody that adapts as you play.
All right. Well, that's really cool. This is definitely a pretty unique game concept here, at least from the narrative, the idea of avoiding the anxiety things. That's really cool here. So, we are a little short on time here, so not to rush you through any closing thoughts, any websites you need to get out there, or publicity things.
Yeah, so we have a Instagram account, a Twitter account. I believe they're both personal space game, hashtags, handles. I don't know. We're relatively
Personal
easy to
space
find.
game is the thing to look up, though.
Yeah.
Yes. And we do have a website, personalspacegame.com. There's not much up, but we hope to get a lot more content up. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, very excited to see what you do with it, and look forward to seeing you guys again at EAE launch. Till then, we have another game, and the pronunciations on that a little weird, so I'm going to let that be the problem of the team who has to come here and explain it to me. To make room for them, this is the part where you go somewhere else now. Man. Maybe it's just me, but that one, well, watching through all that kind of felt like a personal attack. I don't know. Anyway, next team. Well, the door of destiny has been opened, and no one seems to be there. Talking about things that cause me anxiety right there. Ugh. Not knowing what's going to happen next. I've been working this stream for 3 hours, and if there's one thing I've learned, you never know what's going to come in through that door. Is that how that might be how the intro goes. I don't really know. Welcome! If one of you want to take the couch here, the other will be playing it over there. Okay, but I think that one is going to be her headset. Yes. Welcome. Okay. Earlier the camera was farther back. I don't know when it became so up in our grill. Man. Ugh. Did not do enough of my skin care routine this morning for a camera to be this close.
Oh, yeah, understandable. Yeah. You prepare for long distance.
I was going to be over there. In any event, your game. You should tell us about it.
Yeah. So, Chromolition is a skating game. That's about you and a group of street artists fighting to take back a city from being whitewashed by an evil corporation. And so our big mechanic, our twist is that you can actually become graffiti and interact with the art that's on the walls and the floors and pull it out and have it become part of the environment that you interact with. And yeah, you'll see our name is Company Corp. That's the name of our corporation that's whitewashing the city. Is,
okay.
So real
you are the
faceless.
antagonist.
We are,
oh, man.
Company Corp presents Chromolition.
And talk about, okay, so that's your character.
Yep.
Okay, so roller skating. I don't know why I assumed it was skateboarding.
Oh, yeah, understandable.
Yeah. So I imagine that kind of that highlighted thing on the wall is one of those things you can interact. Whoa.
Yeah, so that's us becoming graffiti, that flattening out, and you can. Can you hear the audio as well?
No, I hear nothing.
So one of my favorite things that that we did here is that the music actually changes when you flatten. And so it gets this low pass filter that makes it feel just super different. And I stopped talking there because every time I just want to listen to it and hear how it goes. And that was something one of our engineers did that was just a beautiful little touch.
I feel so left out now.
I'm sorry.
I'll get a chance to take another look at it later.
Oh yeah, you can watch the VOD. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
So what we're doing here is we're trying to collect paint to fill up that big mural.
All right.
And so you collect the little blue orbs, which we're going to replace later. We're 12 weeks into development. Give us a break. And when you get them, you actually go deposit them on the mural, and it fills it up and makes it more full of color and life. And that's how you unlock abilities, is by filling these things out and then collecting the abilities. So we finish it here, and we unlock the kickoff, which is how we deal with our enemies. And she'll show you. She'll pop out some of these enemies, and they'll start floating in the sky overhead. You can see them right there. And then kicking off allows you to sort of like, it's almost like Sonic homing attack. Like the enemies become like parts of how you interact with everything. So like yeah, you can see there like the slow motion kickoff thing where you go to like a focused like almost targeting mode. And so, you know, slow down, jump off, and then we get to this new area. And so this is our like major city. That like first area is sort of like a tutorial construction zone, and then here's where we get into like the city proper, and you start to see some more of this like level design stuff. You look at just been talking. Do you have?
I mean, I'm just taking it all in. This looks like a lot of fun. The movement looks really cool. All the flips and stuff. Very impressive, right there. So, wow, you've got a lot going on here. So, what is the vision? What is your goal by the end of all this? What's all going to be in this?
So, a lot of what you're looking at right now is this is like most of the feature set we want to have. There's a couple like little tweaks that we want to do. Like we want to make the wall writing a little more like streamlined. Right now, it's sort of inconsistent. People really struggle, and you might even catch Liz doing it sometimes where she like goes to wall write and she just like splats onto the ground instead. And so we're trying to fix those controls, and we want to take. You can see like things that are building shaped here, but they're not like you know,
don't quite look like buildings.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so we want to you know, go in and like make those things. We had a tech artist do this beautiful like building generator where we can just draw the shape and it fills it in and puts the windows and doors and the everything on it. So we don't have to like, you know, we don't have to put Liz, one of our artists, we don't have to put her in just like housing hell where she's just like sculpting individual houses to order for like months. So yeah, you can actually see up here we have another mural that she's filling in slowly.
Can you like grind on these rail things?
Yeah, you totally can. So in the final version, that's like an ability that you'll unlock with the one that she's filling out right now. But you know, as it is, we were like, oh, here's just another mural. We're like, here's like another thing to do in this area. And one of the most like fascinating things we've had is that like the coin pickups, which are just collectibles. That's like literally all it is. We've had people come over and sit down and they're like, oh, I can get like all 22 of these. And then they'll just sit there for half an hour and just like hunt every inch, every like square centimeter level and be like, where the hell is that last one? And
people do love their collectibles.
Oh, yeah. And we actually have a thing where like if you collect all 22, we give you like a special like physical, we have like a gold version of our business card. And so we like give that to you. And people are like, yes! Which has been really great. And so, like, some of the animations, you know, where we have this vision for the animations being, like, choppy and, like, this, like, emulate that, like, 2D style through the way that the animations work. And we've gotten a lot of feedback where people are like, I don't know that I love it. And so I'm like, okay, great. Well, you know, we gave it our best. So we're probably going to get, like, an animation revamp there and change the way that those look and feel.
I guess the idea was it kind of looks like you're moving between these freeze frames.
These sort of like, and it was also to sort of drive home this like relationship where like the character is part of the artwork, right?
That happened.
The camera's touchy. Like we were like, okay, we need a better camera because right now the way it's working isn't really helping people. People are getting lost and it's hard to tell what's going on. And so we were like, okay, one of our engineers, we were like, okay, here. And he made it, and we were like, oh, it's, you know, this isn't really easy to see, or like the shot isn't framed very well. Can you fix that? And he's like, dude, I don't have a cinematography degree, man. Like, he's like, I'm an engineer. Like, you asked me to do, you gave me a feature list. I like made it do those things. So that's been like a lot of the work on the camera has been, you know, we have to come in and say, like, do this one specific thing and, like, figure out exactly how we want that to, like, pull out or pan around. So that's been a challenge. We actually had to disable some of the things we had, like, with the rail grinding, what we had was the camera would, like, go behind the character and, like, follow them. and it was causing so many like little problems and like jarring snaps on the camera that we were like, maybe that just needs a little more, a little more time in the oven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time to sit there. Well, that is about all the time we have. So, do you have like any closing thoughts before we?
No, man. Go ahead and check us out. We're Chromalition on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, the whole nine. Yeah, that's us, man. That's Chromalition.
All right. Well, I feel like I could listen to you talk about this game all day, and I'm very excited to see where you go with it.
Yeah,
but that is all the time we have for this interview. This is actually all the time we have for the stream. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you like what you see. I certainly have. I'm very excited where a lot of these projects are going to go. But that's going to be it for me. I have been Archie Smith. You can follow me on Twitter at Sleek Esports to see all the things I get up to. And that one self-plug is my payment for this entire event. So now that that's taken care of, thank you for joining us here at EAE Play. And make sure to follow the projects that you want to. They gave you your websites. Follow them. They're really cool. And all those wonderful things. That's all, folks.